She got
Mm-hmm.
something that I don't have. I don't got thick skin like that.
Right.
My,
Right.
I don't have that. So I stay away from certain things and certain places.
Right.
But
I understand.
when people talk about her, I think she can handle it a lot better than people think. So she ain't
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
hurt by a lot of the hosts saying stuff about her. I don't think she's that hurt. I think she looks at it as in y'all keep talking about her, I keep making money. And let me tell you this,
Yeah.
I agree with her. Y'all keep talking about her, she keep making money. And listen, it works in my favor
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because all I want to do is see her make money. If that's her love, if that's what she likes, make money.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
That's right.
But
Yeah, because all the dumb shit she do, that's all she want us to do is talk about her. But she keep
Yeah.
on
mm-hmm.
talking about her. That's on
But
her.
but but my other thing about that is let her do what she do. When
Mm-hmm.
people
Right.
come to room and try to defend her and try to stand up for her and be her white knight, I think that's crazy because
Yes.
everybody is doing exactly what she wants them to do.
Well,
She wants
yeah.
them to talk about her. So stop
Yeah.
being a white knight and come in your room saying, why y'all always talking about her? Because that's what
Thank
she
you.
wants us to do. That's what she wants everybody to do. Stop, don't be a moron. Think about what she's trying to do. She wants people to talk about her so she can continue to do what she do. Stop blocking her money.
Mm-hmm.
That's sometimes what I want to say. Stop blocking her
Mm-hmm.
money. She wants these people to talk
But
about
right. But the only thing about that, Gerard, when she doing these ACs, uh, she's okay. What she has did, she has became a host on, we call her across the street, but it's the other app. Okay, and she's not realizing you can't work on two apps. Over here, you were banned as a host. So that's when she went to the AC stuff, right? Okay.
her. Hmm.
If people want to give them her money, I can't blame her. And I don't
Hmm.
blame them. That's the money they work for. If y'all want to send it to her AC, keep on sending it to her AC because all she's doing is piling her check money. What else? The baby daddy child support money up.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
this hostess situation, once she finally gets paid, because she's never got paid as a host.
Hmm.
She couldn't say she couldn't even do a full month and get a check because she kept getting banned. So she don't
Oh
know
yeah,
what it is to
that's
get
rough.
paid as a host. It's not that
Right.
great. So when she finally gets her little pay and see it, she's gonna be like, y'all do all of this for this? Yes, ma'am. It's a lot.
Hmm.
Okay. And then she's gonna go back to she just want the AC. But see, she done burnt people so much by scamming and stealing and not giving people what they were supposed to get. Hey, and I look at it like, you know, if they want to support that, go ahead. All she's doing is throwing your money out of the window anyway. Like, huh,
And and I get, and so that's one of the things too. I've had the kind of the privilege of talking to a lot of hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
yeah,
and the cool thing about talking to the host is, I don't ask for anything from the host, so it's very
right,
interesting how friendly people are when you don't ask them for things. And the one thing that has that's kind of that I get from everybody, the host, is the things that you guys used to do you can't do anymore because people like her has made it look bad. So for like the
Mm-hmm.
raffles, people used to look at the raffles and say, "Oh, it's a cool thing," and now
yeah,
that you got people who scamming on them, it's like it's no longer a cool thing. Where I once
right,
had something that could connect me with all the people and I could give back, because really that's what
right.
the raffles was for, is to give back to
Yep,
people who supporting you, and then you got somebody who
exactly.
comes in and scams it. And it's
Yep.
not just her, because I have
No, it's
learned
not.
that,
It's not just her.
because somebody had
Right.
told me somebody who has stole like 7,000 for somebody, and I'm like,
Mhm.
Jesus,
She did the
you know,
same though. It was both in the same month. They both did the
and
same thing.
and
They
so
both
and
did it.
so it's not just her they're mad at, right? But they're
Hmm.
mad at the situation. The thing about it is she
Right.
because she shows up every day with something new, people automatically
Hey,
go,
Bella.
let's be mad at her. You know,
Mhm.
she's
Oh
the first one to
no.
do it.
Oh,
Um,
Gerard. Hold on one second. I'm sorry to
no, go
cut
ahead.
across you. Let me tell you, they had the police and everything at this other lady house. She didn't get any repercussions. Muriel got zero repercussions. The other lady got a lot. But go
So
ahead.
see, this is and that's the catch. I think that she
Hmm.
just keeps skimming past, and she doesn't really understand that she's hurting people. Like people dislike you. Uh, a lot of the hosts dislike you because you get away with some things that they're like, yo, it's messing it up for us. You know,
Right.
Mhm.
you're not getting punished because you're not a host. We're getting punished because we are hosts. And that's kind of
Right.
the issue that has went on with some of the hosts is that's why they have an issue with her,
But
amongst some other things like women
right.
just dislike how unwomanlike she is, and then you get some people who are religious going, I don't like how she is.
Mhm.
It's other
Right.
things that plays
It's
into that
different
too,
things.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but it's
And
a combination.
earlier, right. And earlier I was saying, like, even if Mariel, because I'm not biased, right? I just look at the situation. I just dislike the way the kids are the ones that's really suffering in this whole situation. You know, they really are. And it's like she's still exploiting certain ones and she's still getting away with it. But if Muriel was to do a whole turnaround, I would still even report on that.
Oh
So
yeah,
it would be, oh
because
wow, guys,
because it
look, she's
makes more
actually
sense.
leveling up or taking y'all advice or doing this or
Because
doing that, you know.
you will get more people because more people are more attracted to the recovery than they are the downfall. People are really
Mhm.
more attracted to the recovery than the downfall. So if she was to change things and do things different, people would be even more engaged with her. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Right,
Because she's recovering.
right.
So that's the other funny thing about I've been paying attention to the people on the app. That's the catch. People want to be there for the recovery. It's more people that want to see her recover than they want to see her fall.
Yes, right.
That's the crazy part. I mean, and it's a handful of hosts
Mhm.
that would love to see her go down. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right.
that
Mhm.
handful is not as much as people who want to see her look
Get
good.
better.
And
Yep.
this is the catch. The app is ran by majority women, right?
Women.
Most of
Mm.
the hosts are women. Most of the people moving things really fast are women. And then, there's the gay side of things and they're moving a certain way.
Right,
So you have women, and the gay side, right?
right.
Um, if you offend somebody, if you offend women, oh, you might as well just say you offended the whole app. So when it comes down to her, what she has done is she's offended a large majority of the group, which is women that are mothers.
Hmm.
Um, and all sh- again, once she recovers, everybody gonna be back on her side.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because nobody really, most of the people don't want to see her look bad. They just want to see her be different.
Right.
They want to see her be, a certain type of person. And I think that's the side that she refused to show for herself. I mean, she got it in her.
Mm.
I mean, at least I want to believe she got it in her for my son. You
Right.
know, and of course, a little part of me is trying to root for her.
Right.
That's probably why I choose not to say anything negative about her because I'm rooting for her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have learned this. I want to root for her, but I want to
But
keep my kid in the house with me.
exactly. Right. I
You
got
know,
you.
don't think I'm
Yep.
foolish.
Yes,
I just feel
I
like I
understand.
have the more, I feel like I have the more stability to give him everything
Mm,
he needs than she do. That's
right.
that's how I feel. It's no, I'm doing it because I'm being spiteful, a hater. No, I just think
Yeah.
that I can have the
Hmm.
ability to do a little bit more than she could. And,
Hmm.
that's just it. And not throwing shade at her, but, you know, I got
Yeah.
six and I can handle six a little bit better than she can handle six or five. And I also got a lot of help,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
including my wife, including, my sons with, they don't, it's not like they
Hmm.
do any work for the other
Yeah.
kids, but it is a lot different when you've raised your kids to understand how you operate and then they
Yeah.
help the other kids behind them,
Right.
and we range from, you heard me, 21 to 9 months. So we kind of
Hmm.
got a large range of health, and that's just the kids in the house. That's not including, family members. So,
Right.
that's
I heard her say something earlier, Gerard. She said that she just wants to get a mature relationship with her kids' fathers, be able to now coexist and, you know, uh, like, hey, you want to, like if she's with a man, you're married, of course. And let's just say Cooper has a woman. This is just
Mhm.
hypothetical. She was just saying that she would like to have it to where, hey, we're having a birthday party. Do you and your mate want to come? Do you really think she could one day get at that level, as of what you've seen so far? Is she ready for that?
I want to believe she is, but let me say
Yeah.
something. I just made this comment I said this to my wife earlier today, and
Okay.
I think this is something that people should hear. Everything sounds good when it's going
Yeah.
well.
Hmm.
It's not, relationships don't count until things aren't well. Everybody can do well and speak well when things are good. But what about when
Thank
things
you.
aren't? Can you continue to be respectful and honorable person when things aren't good, when things aren't the best? So it's cool
Thank
that she would like to be like that, but in return, I would say, but you have to also think about when things aren't good. Can you call
you.
and check on each other? Can you call and say, yo, I feel where you're coming from? Can you call and be nice when things are going wrong? You know what I'm saying? If somebody is coming at me a certain way, can you be there for me? Continue to be there for me, even when things aren't good. And that's the part that she has to understand too, that just like she wants people to be there for her, she has to be there for other people, you know, and that's when it really counts. So I don't know if she's there yet, but it takes a lot of maturity to be able to do that. It takes a lot of maturity because you have to deal with things like people cussing you out when you just ask them to stop. You got to deal with people talking about you, dogging you out. It takes a lot of maturity not to say stuff. It takes a lot of maturity not to go off on people. So, and I don't know exactly if she's there yet, but again, too, I haven't dealt with her in years to know where she is as a person. So there's
Mm-hmm.
certain things that I just can't really say nay or yay about, but I will say if she wants that, it's gonna take a lot of maturity on her behalf. And it's not just pretending like you're happy when they're in front of you. It's gonna be being treating them good when all the chips are down.
Yep.
That's really the hard part. That's really, really the hard part because you're gonna have to hold your tongue sometimes. Um, And I heard people used to say all the time, you got to be real, you got to be real. Um, there's a way to be real and not be hurtful. And that's a skill, and that's a skill that some people have to learn how to do. So before you can say you want everybody to coexist in the same spot, have birthdays together, you're gonna have to, what I'm saying, do some real searching within yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, you wouldn't be going to the Matthew birthday party, huh? Well, he got a phone call. Well, you still there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello?
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, I had to
Okay.
get my
My
nephew.
bad.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
My bad.
but you know,
I don't think
oh,
people
go
like
ahead.
me that much to invite me to a birthday party.
Don't
Uh,
say that.
Listen, man, I've
Don't
had some
say
things said
that.
about me in the past week that lets me know I am not a liked person. So
mm,
Gerard.
I'm I'm okay with that. Listen, I'm not everybody cup of tea. I'm not everybody
Right,
favorite popsicle stick. I'm not everybody
right.
favorite drink. I get it.
right,
So, I don't think I'm gonna be invited to certain things at the
Oh,
moment.
okay. Yeah, I
well,
understand. Because
I,
he a rodeo, honey. I'm like,
right.
whoa.
I just say, and I also think, to be honest, he's dealing with some things that, he has to deal with, whether it was because of her or prior incidents with, other people or whatever. A person's age doesn't make them mature, you know.
That
So
is a
maturity
hundred
has to
percent
be
true.
there.
And
Yeah.
and everybody have rough patches in their life. Everybody have
Mm-hmm.
rough patches in your week. Everybody have rough patches in their day, right?
Right.
Let
Mhm.
people go through their rough patches.
Yep.
You know, the
I
the the
agree.
messed up part of it is we kind of got brought to the app.
Yes. Y'all
And
did.
so there are going to be some things that's going to be exposed on this app that we weren't ready for, you
Mhm.
Right.
know. But we got to handle it the best way we know how. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
just say this: that's not how I would want to have dealt with a situation like that, you
Right.
know. And I don't know how I would react in a situation like that. All I know is
Right.
I don't want a situation like that. So now I think about trying damn hard not to have a situation like that. You know
That
what I'm
part.
saying?
I'm gonna say this, Gerard. I think you were very smart. With when it comes down to being open and honest. Number one, with your wife, like because some men wouldn't have even brought the situation up. Because they would
Mhm.
have thought that it was behind them. So therefore, I mean, this like got thrown on you like overnight. But by your wife already being aware of everything and you saved everything from years and years ago, that was a smart move. And you never changed your number. So she could have contacted you at any point in time, at any
Any
time.
point in time. And that's so listen, my so coming into it with my wife,
Right.
I wanted to be completely open. You know,
Right.
something too that's something too that I can speak to now because with
Mhm.
my wife being Asian, the funniest thing is I hear people say, and let me help people out with this stereotype. Um, Asian women are submissive, so they're easy to deal with. Bullshit. That's a damn lie. Let me tell you right now, that is a damn lie. And I'm gonna up you up with that lie, which is how come
Okay.
Asian men, how come Asian men, when they get home, they they let their wives control the house.
Yep.
I've watched Asian men. I watch Asian men don't go out to restaurants because they wife make them lunch so they don't spend money.
Mm-hmm.
And if they spend money and don't eat that lunch, they go ballistic.
Oh
Why you
God.
spending money? Asian women will
Okay.
count money. They will count
Wow.
where it goes, how it goes, when it goes. You listen.
Yes.
There's a misconception that they are submissive. In no Asian culture,
Mm.
Asian women are that submissive. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that let me debunk that for some people. But going into it with my wife, it was a very good understanding that I can handle anything as long as it's not surprise, as long as it's not a surprise.
Right.
So when my wife
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
said that, I said, well, let's get all the surprises out today.
Right, right, right.
You know, because if I want to be married, I need to get, if you giving me this option to be honest, I'm gonna be honest, you know?
Right.
And that's what I
Right.
think that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be honest. But listen, not every woman is strong enough to deal with that. So a lot of women would rather not know. You have to know the
Right.
caliber of woman you marry and you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a woman that can't handle those things, then you should be prepared to either not be with that person or you should be trying to figure out a way of how to rip the band-aid off quickly. But that's a conversation that needs to be had. I
Mm-hmm.
learned in marriage counsel, you have those uncomfortable conversations right here, right now. The more you give that person an option to leave at the beginning, it makes it stronger to stay at the end. So,
Mm-hmm.
I gave my wife all the options to leave. How many kids you got? I got this many kids. My wife only had one kid. You know, my wife had no reason to want to have to stay with me. You know what I'm saying? No woman has a reason to want to have to stay with me. You should
Right.
give that person the option. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Love is a choice. You choose to
Right.
give your love to somebody. That's what I think. So and I could be wrong, but that's what I think. I think love is a choice. You can choose to give your love to
Mm-hmm.
somebody and people choose to receive your love. And so at that moment she was telling me like, listen, I can continue to love you if you're honest with me. And that's what it
Wow.
was. So there was no, and I was lucky enough to be able to have a wife that was understanding to that. I understand that there's women
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't understand that. I just looked up and
Right.
had a wife that understood that. But
Right.
there's also things that come with that too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
We got married in, such and such a year. If
Mm-hmm.
this kid is born between this year and this year, we gonna have problems. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's something you got to understand. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so it makes for some interesting conversations, but and necessary conversations. And I think married people should have a lot of uncomfortable conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your wife about what would happen if we cheated, if one of us cheated.
Mm.
Have those
Right.
conversations. Yeah, you don't want it to happen, right? And you don't want to talk anything into existence. But what you do want to do
Exactly.
is you want to understand the type of person you married and the type of person you're dealing with. That's what I
You're
say.
dealing with. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she
I
may be
agree.
able to handle it, or
Right.
she may hit you with a, okay, so if you out there doing what you're doing, that means I can do what I'm doing. And you got to be man enough to say,
To take that.
yeah,
Yep.
I can't handle you doing it. Okay, so if you
Right.
can't handle me doing it, then you can't do it. And as a man, you got to think about that,
Mm-hmm.
or you got to man up and say, I can't stop fucking these hoes. Okay,
Oh.
so that means that you got to let her keep doing it. You get what I'm
Ooh.
saying? So that means she
Right.
gets to do it. Then she
Yeah.
can't keep letting Mandingo go up inside of her. So now y'all
Right.
both got to deal with that in your marriage. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's just the reality. But if
And
y'all
you know
come to
what?
terms where,
Yep.
what?
And like you said, more uncomfortable conversations do need to be had between men and women because
Oh yeah.
communication is the key for every relationship, whether it's
Yeah.
marriage, husband and wife, girlfriend and boyfriend, even mother to daughter, mother to son. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
communication is the key to it all
Mm-hmm.
for a good
And the
family.
form of communication you have is important too. Is important too.
Hmm.
Like I learned that arguing is a form of communication. So
Mm.
you got to learn how to argue. And I know people like, how do you argue and it be positive? You learn how to argue without offending, right? So if we want
Uh,
to go back and forth, if you know that person's trigger word is, so what you gonna do now? Don't say that.
right, right,
If you know they trigger word is, it is what it is. Don't say that. You can argue with somebody without triggering them, and that's how you got to figure out how to have arguments. And there's no way you can and there's no way you can be married. So first of all, there's no way you can be married. Two people come from two different homes and think you're not gonna have some disagreements, right? So let's up it a level. There's no way you're gonna come from two different cultures and you're not gonna have some type of arguments, right? So let's take it even further. You come from two different homes and now you're raising a kid. There's no way there isn't going to be arguments, right? Or disagreements. You just got to know how to have them.
right,
And you got to know
right.
how to be responsible with the arguments and the disagreements. And sometimes you're going to have to listen a lot. No, no,
Mhm.
let me say this.
Right.
You're going to have to learn how to listen a lot when you're married
Uh-huh.
and shut up a lot because each person is coming from their point of view.
Right.
So you got to listen, because you'll learn some things, and
Yeah.
that's what I think is the best part about being married is the constant learning about somebody or the constant
Hmm.
understanding of somebody. When you stop learning about the person you married to,
Hmm.
then y'all don't like each other enough.
Oh wow.
That's what I think. When
Hmm.
you think you know everything about the person,
Right.
um, I think that you one you get bored and you two you get annoyed and I think that you're lying. You're never
Mm.
going every year you're going to learn something different. If not every
Yeah.
month you're going to learn something different. Um and that person is going to change it up, right? It's going to be some
Right.
things that you changed up. I may like apple pie. No, I don't like apple pie. You know,
Right.
um, 15 years into marriage, I become diabetic, which means now
Right.
I have to change the way I eat. Now
Hmm.
my wife is learning that my body can't accept certain things. You're always going to be learning each other in some form, fashion, or way. And I think you should be comfortable with not knowing your partner 100%, but you should know the core of the person that you're doing 100%.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is you should know his morals, ethics, and understandings before you marry him. You should know the
Fact.
caliber of the person he is. You should know,
Yeah.
you may not know how every inner working, but you should know his character. And what I mean by that is, if you talk to a man that when y- that stole from the store and when he accidentally stole from the store, he didn't take the item back. Then you know what type of you do it, right? But if that man who accidentally put something in his pocket and then he goes, "Hey, let me go back in there and pay for this," you know the character of that person. You got to know the, I mean, you know the
Right.
character of that person. You got to know the core of who you're dealing with. Pay attention to those things. Pay attention to who he is or who that person is before you decide you're
Hmm.
going to say I do or you get married. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's what I believe. And you will know the character of the person. You should
Yep.
know before you even consider marrying them.
Right. Yeah, you should.
That's something that should be talked about a lot.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
And another thing, I think people need to realize too that we can have hope and we can give people mercy and grace. We can have hope that a person will change, but we got to realize once a person reaches a certain age, that's basically who they are. If you're
Right. I
working
don't
with,
believe your
there,
core. Go
mhm.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like that's like building a house, right? You have to have a solid foundation for that house to maintain.
Hmm.
That's just like uh, a marriage. You have to have a solid foundation. That's just like your children.
Hmm.
You have to have a solid foundation with your children. Like we're bringing children into the world, and they should be able to trust you and trust the fact that you're going to protect them as much as possible and not try to exploit them or deceive them or hurt them. It's like, the children will love you through anything. Children accept a lot from grown-ups, you know, and I just feel like, you know, when Muriel, I just feel like she had seven, right? At some point in time, if it was too many, why didn't you stop? You
And that's a
know?
layered question too. That's a layered question too. I I once was told something about somebody that was close to me, and they said
Right,
uh
Envy.
that a person that sometimes a person is seeking out love, and they think
Hmm.
that having children will satisfy them in that love department. So they keep
Mm.
having
Hmm.
kids, hoping that these kids will show them a level of love that they haven't
Right.
received from another person. And so
Right.
they keep having and having in hopes that they get that certain type of love. But let me tell you, there's no such thing as your kids loving you like another person that don't have a choice to love you, right? Your kids are your kids come from you. So automatically in our kids' mind, they think I have to love you. But the
Right.
love from a person that doesn't have to love you is totally different. And
Right.
sometimes people are looking for that love from another person that don't have to be here. But they think it's the
Hmm.
same love as your kid that's here. You know, and it's two different type of loves. So, and it's not the same love, and they don't even play in the same area. You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
the love that I have for my brother and my sisters are totally different than what I have for my wife. You know,
Right.
my brother and sisters, no matter how mad we get with each other, they don't always
Hmm.
be there. My
Right.
wife has a choice. She could leave, right? Our kids don't have a choice to leave. Our brothers and sisters don't have a choice to leave, but another person can. And that love is totally different. It's not, one love isn't greater than the other. It's just different. And I think sometimes people are seeking out that different type of love. And the
Hmm.
kids aren't getting some people. So, some people aren't fulfilled with just their kids'
Right.
love. And I can
Right.
understand because it's a different type of love. I mean, and that's just it. So
Yeah.
that's my thing about that is people have to be very careful about continuing to have children and thinking that they are going to love them like a partner or a husband. That's not going to happen. Your kids will love you, but not the same.
You're right. And you know what? I asked you that question because I did hear her in a video say that she wanted a daughter because she wanted love, you know. And I was thinking about that. And I said, well, you had a daughter and you had sons, and then you got two more daughters. And it's like when your daughter had that conversation with you about, how she felt about Patrick and stuff, it's like she broke her trust. It's like she broke the trust in the bond with her because Samaya was saying, that she doesn't feel comfortable or safe around him. So she wanted to be at home when she felt safe. But that night when she set up everything and let Patrick do what he did, she totally broke that with her. Like so many levels.
Hmm.
I'm not I'm not sure
We
that she understands it or not, but yeah.
no, because I mean, I'm not saying that she doesn't, but I think a lot of people don't.
Hmm.
Because that's going back to that relationship thing, right? Um,
Right.
you breaking trust is a hard thing. That's
Yeah.
why most people try not to do it in their marriages, in their relationships. But I'm going to say this too. Most people ask for stuff that they're not ready for.
Right.
Um,
Ooh.
and let's talk about how we pray to God for stuff. And then
Hmm.
when we get it, we don't know how to handle it. You pray to God for more money, and then you blow it all in 2 days. You pray for a house, and then you
Hmm.
don't you don't clean it, or you don't pay the mortgage. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
pray for your kids to be, you know, saved and delivered, and then you don't talk positive to them.
Right.
Sometimes we ask for stuff and we don't know how to take care of it. I think that's something that people should pray more about is if you give it to me, teach me how to handle it. If you give it to me, teach me
Hmm.
how to, you know, receive it and accept it. That is one of the things that I think that people should do, because just you can have a billion kids, 1,000 kids, and no matter what, if you're not happy with them, then you're not happy.
Right.
That's the hard part about it, is not knowing. Once you get it, you don't know how to handle it or manage it. You know, I want, I want, 10 kids. But
Yeah.
how will you handle the 10 kids? Can you love
Hmm.
them? Can you understand them? Can you spend time with them? Like, I wanted a lot of kids. I
Hmm.
truly did want a lot of kids. Um,
Hmm.
but you hear me. I like my sons. I think they
Yeah.
they dope dudes, but they
Right.
not the same. You know what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
always talk about how I wish I had a girl, because in my later years, I want somebody to be able to take care of me. And the way I raise my boys, I'm raising them to take care of their wife, their partner, their family.
Hmm.
So I don't expect my sons to have to come back and take care of me. I'm definitely sure they're gonna take care of my wife. They love my wife to
Hmm.
death. So I'm
Don't,
already know that.
but Gerard, don't underestimate them now because
Listen,
great
listen. I'm hoping
fathers
that they get
they
it.
will,
Listen,
they
I'm
will,
hoping that maybe they get it. Maybe they marry somebody that's willing to, take on me and my
right,
wife.
help them
Maybe
along,
I get a,
right,
yeah, maybe I get
yeah,
a daughter-in-law, since I didn't have any girls. But that's kind of what you kind of hope for in a situation like that.
yeah, right,
But you know what I'm saying? I like them, and they dope. My sons is,
mm-hmm.
and that's the one thing that I say is different from me to other people. I don't really have to yell at my boys, because what I'm saying, they kind of know that I think they dope. So I think that they try
Right,
not to disappoint me. I think more
right,
than anything, they try not to disappoint me. And so I'm hard on them, but they willing to work
hmm
hard for me because they don't want to disappoint me. That's
and
Let me tell
I
you,
think too, I
it's
think
so
you've been
much better.
showing them not to disappoint themselves.
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
as
And
well. Yep,
and and that's the kind
I
of
do
cool thing
think
about
so.
that too is, I like them little dudes. They make me laugh. They make me laugh a lot. Um,
Right,
but I like them all different, and I like them all for
right.
different reasons. But
And you
that's
know what
you
I
know,
like after listening to you? You spend time with each one, and that's hard to do. I know it is.
oh
As
oh, it's
parents
difficult.
working, you know, and we only
Oh
get
yeah.
24 hours in a day, but you do try to make time for each one. That's
So
great.
you gotta understand and utilize each time. So you gotta look at it and
Hmm.
go, yo, I can't do much. If I gotta sit down and watch Adventure Time with my son, you know what I'm saying? Then I'm gonna sit down with Hezekiah for 2 hours and watch Adventure Time as I talk junk to him and make fun of him and make fun of what we watching. But I'm making time with it. He's talking to me about it. You know, if I'm taking my son to go and see John Wick and we sitting in the movie theater, and then we leave out of there and we have, what I'm saying, a 15-minute, what I'm saying, lunch and we hanging out. I utilize that. If I'm sitting there talking to my 21-year-old and I'm helping him do meal preps for the week and we having small conversations doing that. That's you try to utilize all those times, and that's what you try to do. Because again, you don't have a lot of time, especially when you get past like 3, you don't have a lot of time. 4, you don't have a lot of time. 5, you don't have a lot of time. Your time gets thinner and thinner and thinner. You know what I'm saying? So you come up with ways to make it exciting. That's what I do. I like things to make it exciting. Oh man, I feel like I done took over your room. All right, I'm gonna step down and I ain't gonna bother you no more. You on mute.
Oh my God. Thank you for telling me. Because I said, no, you didn't take over the room. I'm like, but if you had to go, I understand. And I thank you for chatting with me. You know, you always welcome on any subject. I would
and
like to have more conversations about, us, women, men, communication, relationships. You know, I think that'd be dope.
listen, bring me in at any time. I ain't an expert at it, but I can tell you
Right.
I'm good at telling you my mistakes. And apparently, since I walked up on this app, I ain't been doing nothing but talking
Wow.
about my mistakes. So
Oh, nah,
I'm
you
good. I
good.
would I
Miss
love to
Miss
have more
said that
conversations like that.
she said I still have mommy son dates with my son and he's 27. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, and let me
Like
tell you this. I used to
yeah,
like even with my mom, man. I love going over to my mom's house and just sitting at the table and then just
right.
talking mess with her. You know what I'm saying? Just what
Right.
I'm saying. I'm almost 40, and I love just talking to my
Right.
mom, talking about crazy stuff. My mom retired now, and so
Uh-huh.
she just be watching crazy stuff on TV. I love just watching the crazy stuff to know what she talking
With
about.
her. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's messed
I'm
up.
I'm a
Yep.
huge cooker. I love cooking. I love going over to my
Hmm.
mom's house and saying, "Yo, how you cook such and such?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I may know how to cook it. I don't know how to cook it mother good, but
Right, right.
I'll go over there and do that. I think that's necessary.
Yeah. It
And
is.
again, that's going
Because
back to what I said earlier, which is when you
mm,
get older, you want to be able to have a relationship with your kids to where they can keep coming back.
right. I mean, because for real, we never stop being parents. We never stop being
Never,
sons, daughters, aunts, uncles, cousins. We never stop, you
never.
know?
My my dad, when the week before my dad died. A week before he
Hello,
died,
everybody.
he went into a coma. Before my
Hmm.
dad went into a coma, the week before, he was always saying, me and my dad were always, my dad would call me at least once a week. He would call me
Mhm.
at least once a week.
Mhm.
And even if it
Right.
was, hey, Rod, how you doing? I'm fine. How's your mom doing? She's good. And I know you just talked to my mom because you talk to my mom at least twice a week. But
Right.
that was his conversation started with me. How the boys doing? This and that.
Right.
And my dad was, until the day he couldn't talk, he was still being a
Mhm.
dad to me. Hey, Rod, don't be doing nothing crazy. Don't be getting it. You know how it is. Don't talk to that girl in a certain way. That's your kid's mother. Don't do that. If you don't know how the future gonna be, you might wind up marrying her. My dad always was parenting me or guiding me. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no way. And my dad showed
No.
me until the day to the day he died, to the day he couldn't
Right.
speak anymore, he was still trying to give me advice. You know what I'm saying? My dad showed me that that's what it
That's a
means to be
father.
a parent.
Right.
That's what it means. And
That's a father.
you hear all the time that people say, "Oh, you can do it without a dad." You can, but the one thing
Mhm.
that I've learned about having a dad around,
Mhm.
dads love you and push you totally different than mothers, right?
Mhm.
I still
Right.
believe you need both.
Mhm.
Women are very nurturing, loving. You always find a comfort space for your mom, right?
Right.
But
Right.
dads are expectationers. Kids,
Mhm.
when you have your dad around,
Protectors.
you don't
Yeah.
want to disappoint him. So you're
Right.
always looking at your dad and going, what is his expectation? What he expect out of me? If I came to my dad and said X, Y, and Z, he'll think that I'm crazy. That's how you love your dad. Your mom is, yo, I can talk to her about anything. Your dad is, I want to meet up to his expectations. And that's kind of, you need both. You need somebody
Right.
that when you fail, they're there to hold you. You need somebody
Yeah.
that when you're climbing up that chain, he's saying you
Mhm.
can go further.
He
You know,
pushing
and
you. Right. Yep.
yeah, and that's what we do.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that we do. Um, and I think that's a beautiful thing if you have a child who has that. Um, and I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a famous example. Um, you got LeBron James who didn't grow up with a father.
Right.
And LeBron James is successful. He's doing everything he wants to. He didn't grow up with a father. Nothing negative about him. Then you have Steph Curry. Steph Curry dad is standing on the side of the court looking at his son and smiling at him.
Yep.
LeBron has a bad game day. He has a bad attitude. Steph Curry
Right.
has a bad day. He looks at his dad and his dad say, next time.
Yeah.
So their
Right.
attitudes are totally different. Their attitudes
Mhm.
are totally different because one is like, I don't know where to let my anger out. And the other is my dad, how my dad gonna look, what my dad gonna say if I get an attitude and start throwing the ball or push up on another player. My dad gonna check me. So again, and let me also say this: a decent dad and a aware dad is that's a good thing because Steph Curry steps off that court even when they win or lose, and he knows how to his dad is there to say, "Yo, you did good. Yo, you need to get your attitude together. Calibrate yourself." But when he goes to his mom, he goes, "Mom, I don't want to hear about that, all that calibrate your stuff. I just want to be around you." And his mother knows how to say, "Boy, just come in the house. I got you. What you want? How you doing? How's everything going?" And I think you need that.
And I agree, Jerrod. You are so right. I was just sitting there laughing, right? Because you had me thinking back when I was in school, honestly, and like elementary school, when, they used to do the little, little programs, the choir and stuff, for like different holidays. And I would look out and see my mother or my mother and my father, and I'd be like,
Mhm.
they're here. You know what I mean? And then it's
Hmm.
like, as I got older, I used to be in band and they supported me with that so much. And they never missed a concert. I don't care where we went, they were always there. High school, same thing,
Now, now I got a
always
question for
there.
you. I got a
Hmm.
question for you.
Hmm.
When you wanted to quit, what happened?
My father said, "There's no quitters around here. I don't raise quitters. Now, do I? Give me a hug." Then my
That
mother,
I
my
ain't even know
mother,
that. I ain't even know that. But
yeah.
but keep going.
And then my mother be like, give me my little time. Now, it's okay. You did good still, even though you lost. You still did great. I love you.
Two different responses, but they're necessary responses.
Right.
We don't got no quitters. So what do that do? That make you feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.
It's that feeling.
Yeah.
Your mom saying, "Yo, even if you can't do everything, I still got you."
Hmm.
But that's the two different loves, but it's the love necessary. And that's why you said when you looked out there and they was there, you like, man. So you said to
Right.
yourself, I can't fail. Or
Yeah. And and I'm gonna say this too, y'all. And even as I grew older, you know, uh, my parents were always there. And if I didn't complete something, it was okay. So drive.
Mhm.
Hello.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Like I was saying, like even as I grew older in life, just going through life, my mother called me every day to check on me. My dad, when I get back to the house, he'll be like, "How you been? You okay?" And then me and him are going to have a little, bit chit chat or whatever. But I can say this: if I ever needed anything, I could pick that phone up and just call. But this is the thing: they never. How can I say it? My father made you work for things, you know, and it was like he didn't just give you something he never made it easy. Let me say that. He made you understand with like money, the worth of money, and how it's important to pay bills, y'all, and just stuff like that. And he made me responsible financially and responsible as an adult, but they were always still there if I truly, truly needed them. And I just hope more people be like that, you know. Miss 21, it is the best feeling when you see in the audience that you have somebody there rooting for you. So I can't say that.
And and it's so weird. It's so weird because when you as you were talking, I was thinking about before when I was going to court. Uh and my dad said to me, how you feel about going to court and fighting for your kids? And I said, I do not like this. And he
Right,
said, and he said to me, these are the consequences of your ways.
right.
And I was like,
Wow.
do you think I want to hear that right now? I'm going back and forth to
Yeah,
courts and then, yeah.
yeah.
And my dad, maybe about after court was over the first time, um, my dad said to me, so how you feel now? I said, I feel the same way you asked me before. He said, then keep that feeling and understand what moms go through.
Mm,
That's
wow,
what he said. Moms
wow.
always, even my dad understood that women fight for their children different than men. And my dad helped
Right.
me understand that. But it was always one of those things is as men,
You
we
had
got
a
to
good
be patient.
father.
Oh, my dad was
Yeah.
dope. I gotta
Mm,
say this too, because my
yeah.
dad was a Southern guy. My dad
Hmm.
was from Alabama and my mom was from here. So I got a
Okay.
mixture of my mom being when
But
you know up north, further up north, the women get
right.
hardcore, you know,
Right.
and dads down south, they just appreciate everything. They appreciate life,
Hmm.
they appreciate love, they appreciate it.
Right. I get
So
it.
so it was different. It was different, you
Hmm.
know. And so my dad was always, you know, he always had that wisdom that was kind of like let's figure it out together. And I love that
Hmm.
about my dad because he never told me to do anything. He just let me understand that, yo, however we do it, this is how it's gonna be, you know, and don't be mad about the process.
Right. Right. Wow. I tell you, I think a lot of us got to get through. It's like we just gotta learn to communicate more, and like you were saying about consequences and stuff like that. Like the consequences of having unprotected sex is making a child, and it might be with someone that you don't want to deal with for 18 years. So it's like men and women have to think about that before engaging, just to get that good old feeling. Honestly, like you got to be more selective. And I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. I'm just saying in general. In general. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah.
Man, listen, I could talk hours about my dad, my mom and my dad.
Right.
That's you know, if you ever want to call me up and have one of those conversations about
Right.
moms and dads and being raised, you know, I love talking about that. You
But
know,
this
because
is
my
what I
mom and
did
dad.
say. Mhm.
Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead,
I
go
don't
ahead.
mean to cut you off, Gerard, but I said this. I don't know if you heard me, but I said, as women and men, we do have to be more selective when having engaging in sex. You know,
Absolutely,
we have we have to think about these things. Yes, we might meet someone, talk to them for 30 days or a week or two, or heck, even just a one night stand. You have to take into account, what if I have a child with this man or this woman? Do I really want to deal with this person for 18 years?
absolutely. Not only that, but you really not dealing
Goodness.
with them for just 18 years. You know, the
Right. It's the
reality
rest of
is
your
you're going to
life.
be doing. Imagine when your child get married. Imagine when
Right.
your child graduate from college.
Mm,
Imagine when you
everything. Mm.
imagine when your child has kids and then they go to graduate from kindergarten.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Imagine when they graduate from eighth grade. So the reality is the reality is you gotta figure out that should be it should be
Right.
more understanding about certain things than anything.
I
You should
agree. I do.
really, really
Hmm.
like think about that stuff because
Hmm.
you are dealing with this person for a lifetime. So that's even with my
Yeah.
situation with my with you know my kid's mother. You know,
Yes.
it's gonna be something when he goes to graduation, right? He got eighth
Right.
grade graduation. He got high school graduation. If he choose to go to
Mhm.
college, college graduation. If
Right.
he choose to go to the military, right?
Right.
You got
Graduation
graduation
there.
after boot camp. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? So we got graduate, you know, so whatever we do, I still have to be present with her, right? So that's why I say
Hmm.
arguing with her now don't make any sense because we
Right.
still got a long road ahead of us, you know.
Very true.
And Lord behold, thank God he had a school that passes sixth grade because just
Hmm.
imagine going from sixth grade, the fifth grade to sixth grade, they get a graduation then. So I would have to
Right.
deal with fifth grade graduation, eighth grade, you know what I'm saying? So
Yes, I get it.
imagine spending that much time disliking somebody and you got to go through all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
And instead of enjoying the moment, you're sitting back being upset about kicking it with somebody. You know, your mama
Right.
here. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
and it's kind of cool. Like with my 17-year-old, he makes fun of me now. You know, he's like, he's like, yeah, you know, you're gonna have to sit at graduation with my mom. Yes, I know I'm gonna have to
Mm,
sit at graduation with your mom, and you know she's gonna
right.
be the loudest person there. Yes, I know your mom is gonna be the loudest person there. Like, and you know when we buy seats, y'all gonna have to sit next. Yes, I know we're gonna have to. You know, it's
Right.
those things that it's cool to have that relationship with your kids and they know that you're not upset because it could be a joking
Mm,
situation versus
right.
oh, I can't take it, you know. My son looks at it as it's funny, like, yo, this is gonna be funny, you know. So his whole thing is, yo, I'm gonna do well so you and my mom can keep meeting up at graduation. Like, really? You know, when you have that kind of relationship, right, with your kids, it becomes fun to them. It becomes a joke to them, and it could sometimes make things a little easier, you know. So because my boys know I don't hate their moms. My boys know
Yeah.
that I
Right.
don't have a feeling towards them that I'm just like forget them.
Right.
They know that I respect their moms. They just know,
Yeah.
it just didn't work.
Work.
Um,
Right.
but still, I'm not gonna disrespect them, you know. And that's another thing. My wife is in the understanding of that. Um, Imagine my wife. I don't ever want my wife to feel like I'm gonna treat her like some, you know, some
Right.
throwaway. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right. I
Like if things don't
understand.
work out, I'm gonna treat her like some
Yeah.
throwaway. Heck no,
Right. Right.
you know. And
That's
I
so
don't want
cool.
my wife to ever feel like, and that was something that even somebody on the app had to check me about. You don't ever want your
Hmm.
wife to feel like I'm gonna dog her out.
Right.
Like you
Right.
talk to your kid's mom, and I'm like, yo, you right.
Mhm.
I don't ever want my wife to feel like that. I don't ever want my
Right.
wife to feel like I'm gonna turn I'm gonna turn
On her.
the
Right.
attacks to her. Heck no.
Right.
Heck
Right.
no. You know what I'm saying? Heck no,
Yeah.
she don't deserve that.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
now I have to be careful not just of what I say to my kid's mom, but how I
Hmm.
address it to my wife. You
Right.
know, and I don't ever want my wife to have a certain type of attitude to where her anger is turned towards the kids. The boys love my wife.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's crazy because Hezekiah has kind of fell in line with that. Like he likes talking to my wife. He talks to her without me
Oh,
being
that's
around.
great.
You know,
Yeah.
so, of course, she will never replace his mom. That's definitely
Right.
not
Of
what my
course.
wife wants
Yeah.
to do. His mom is who his
Right.
mom
Right.
is. But
Yeah.
to have a person that's there going, yo, I love your dad, so
Yeah.
automatically I love you. So
Right.
you're going to be
Right.
treated a certain way. That's a
Mhm.
that's a good feeling for him and for me. But
Yeah. That's good.
it's, it's still, it's still
That's
gonna be some
calling being
moments.
mature, Gerard. It's called
Absolutely.
maturity. Maturity.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And going back to my
Yeah.
mom and dad,
Hmm.
my mom and dad was not married. Um, and they never were married, ever. But they had the coolest friendship they've had the best friendship I've ever seen. I model my friendships with people off of my mom and dad. My mom and dad was like cool with each other. 100% cool with each other. Not fake cool. They were
Right.
cool with each other. My
Right.
mom needed something, my dad was there. Um, I
Right.
only got two whoopings from my dad ever, and that was when I talked bad to my mom, talked bad
Right.
about my mom. And my dad didn't
Okay.
even really whoop me. Sorry, my dad didn't whoop me. He yelled at me. And my dad
Okay.
yelled at me for talking bad about my mom.
Uh-huh.
He yelled at me. He said, "You don't talk to her like that. She was there when
Right.
I wasn't there." That was his words. When I wasn't
Wow.
there, she was there. You give her respect.
Right.
And so my dad
Wow.
even accepted that, yo, I wasn't always present.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you get to talk to her a certain way.
Any kind of way.
You know,
Right.
I don't remember a time when my dad wasn't present, but
Right.
my dad had accepted that there was a time when my mom did more than he did, give her that respect.
Yeah.
And so because of that,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, that's how I am now. You ain't gonna never
Right.
get me to say nothing bad about a woman who
Yeah.
carried my child.
Right. And
You
you
know,
know
you're
what
not gonna get me to
I
say that.
really respected about you, Gerard, is and you really totally I think understand like, you know, the dynamics of what affect children and even us, growing up. Even though we're adults now, we were once kids, right? And we can remember how certain situations made us feel if we went through them. And when you said, I asked Hezekiah for, like, did he forgive me or you apologize to him? I thought that was so great because how many of us would go to a child and say, I'm sorry for not being there, but I'll be there
You
now?
you you can't expect your child to not say sorry if you won't say sorry. You can't
Right,
expect your kid to do something that you won't do. So if
right,
if if I'm going to if I'm gonna sit back and I expect him to be a person that goes, "Yo, Dad, maybe I shouldn't have did that. Maybe I should have did better." Then I have to be able to go to him and show him that, "Yo, I could have done better." And so that's just in my brain. That's wild to me that I wouldn't have that conversation. Nobody should have that conversation but me. Nobody should have that conversation. Even if, let me say this, even if she chose to tell my son, I abandoned him. If that's what she said,
right.
I have a problem. No, no, no. I'm thinking about it. No, I have a problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem either way. I think that
Mhm.
if it was me handling a situation like that, I would rather the person say, "Yo, you'll meet your dad one day." Then you
Right,
ask him that question. The day you meet your
right,
dad, you ask him that question.
right,
All these questions you want to ask me as a mom, you wait till the day you meet your father and you ask him that question. And I
right,
think that that's a better way to answer it because that still gives him you never want to take hope away from kids. So that's
right.
hope that he'll see his dad one day. That's hope. And trust me, you got a lot of hope if the dad is paying child support. You got a
Right,
lot of hope. You know what I'm saying? You got more
right,
hope than most people. You know, your hope, your meter. If the dad is paying child support, the odds of him meeting his child goes up a lot more. You know,
right.
so
Yeah,
preparing him for that day would have been what I would have done. You know, you prepare him for that day when you meet. I remember telling my stepson because his father wasn't around. Until the
right,
day you die, you get to have a relationship with your dad. So as long as your dad isn't dead, you can figure out you and his relationship.
right.
And you know, it ain't my job to disrespect his dad or dog him out because he wasn't around. Um,
Yeah.
my son just talked to me the other day, and he said he's planning a trip to go and see his dad. So
Okay.
I said that's what he's supposed to do. It don't make me
Mhm.
feel no type of way. It don't make me feel less of a dad to him. What that makes me know
Mhm.
is he's still trying, and his dad still has an opportunity to win his son over. That's
Right.
what I want. That's what I want. There's things that his blood father can have that I don't have, and
Right.
that's okay,
Yeah.
but it's not my job to tell him your dad is whack, your dad ain't
Yeah.
no
Right.
good,
Right.
your dad is
Right.
this. It ain't my job,
Yeah. Right.
as of right now, because I don't want him to feel like I'm gonna be like that. I ain't
Yeah.
like that. I'm. But yeah, I'm about to get off
Yeah.
here. I'm taking over your
All right,
page. Go
Gerard.
ahead.
Thank you for
Finish me. I'm gonna
joining
step
me.
down. Bye.
All right. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
And call me up whenever you can send me a message and I'll jump up for you. You've been good
All
tonight.
right. No problem. Thank you for joining.
All right.
Hey, Miss Blondie girl. What's happening? Man, great, great person. Great combo.